All right, good evening. So, welcome back to our sound studio where we will be discussing ever so briefly food webs. Now, the last time we left off building our Weebly site, we discussed trophic pyramids. Trophic pyramids, much like what we're going to talk about tonight, if you remember, where the emphasis was on energy transfer. So, we're going to do a similar thing with instead of drawing a pyramid, we're going to use a diagram here to demonstrate energy transfer. And so here, what you can see here is I have my producers. I have some primary consumers, this ostrich here. Here's another primary consumer. This, I assume this is an antelope, my attempt to draw that. And over here we have a zebra. And then we also have some primary consumers here. These are termites. We have a secondary consumer here with our shrew. And then in the case of this limited ecosystem up here, we have our tertiary consumer, which would be a kite. And we'll explain why it's a tertiary here in a minute. So first off, let's remember the emphasis of this was on energy. So here's where my energy begins. The producers make sugar, take the sunlight, the energy from the sun in the form of sunlight, and make sugar out of that. So what I'm going to do here is let me get a arrow so I can draw something here for you. So energy is going to begin at this spot right here. Now energy is going to then be transferred to anything that eats it. So in a food web, I'm going to draw an arrow to any organism that eats that plant. So these would be our primary consumers. So first of all, the termites would be eating them, so I'm going to draw my arrow this direction. What else eats this plant? Well, we have an ostrich. We have our antelope. And we have our zebra. Now, some of these food webs can get very complicated very quickly. And you'll notice the real important thing here is the direction of the arrow. Now, the arrow is pointing from the plant to the ostrich because that is the direction of the energy transfer. Energy originates from the plant, and when this guy eats it, our ostrich eats the plant, roughly like we were talking about, roughly about 10% of the energy from this plant goes to the ostrich. Roughly 10% of what's energy that's in this plant is transferred to the antelope. Roughly 10% of the energy that was originally here is transferred to the zebra after they eat it, and to the termites as well. Now you'll notice that the idea of the food web comes from the fact it's going to start looking like a spider web, because now these guys, for instance, these termites, will then be eaten by the elephant shrew. Okay, so now we get sort of kind of like arrows going in several different directions. Now this elephant shrew is then eaten by the kite. Now, what makes it a food web is there's a few things missing. I did this as an overly simplified, but what if I had like a lion over here? This would be our lion. Well, the lion eats the zebra. The lion would eat the antelope, and I assume if it'd get its mouth around this, so then we would then draw this to the lion. We would have arrows going over here. We'd have arrows going over here, and that's why I say it would eventually get kind of crazy and wild. So anyways, that's it. I wanted to keep it quick and fast, under 4 minutes, and that is what I want you to work on. Remember, your food web, if you want full points, when you embed it to, when you download it to YouTube and then embed it on your Weebly, make sure it's of your ecosystem, not of this African ecosystem. This is just the example. All right, so have fun with that, and we will see you guys in class.